Oh, what? I was 5 movies into 2018, and not a single one was like god awful yet. You know, like not a single god awful one yet. It was bound to happen sooner or later. Hey, what's up, you guys? Film fan 0599 here again, and today we're going to review The Open House. So, The Open House stars Dylan Minnette, and what this film is basically about. After a tragedy happens with this mother and son, they decide they're going to take a little bit of a vacation in this vacation home or whatever that the mother's sister had. And they're staying there and whatever, and some strange occurrences start happening in this house. Yeah, so what did I think of The Open House? Now, going into The Open House, I didn't know much about it. I heard Dylan Minnette made a post about it on his social media. I remember this. I was on Twitter. I saw he made a post about it, and I was like, okay. And then I heard the reviews for it. And yeah, they were no good. They were no good for it. And I was like, you know what? I'll give it a watch. I'll see what I think of it. And yeah, that was bad. Yeah, The Open House is pretty awful. The Open House is not a good movie. It really isn't. It's every horror trope in the book. It basically is. That's exactly what The Open House is. The Open House is every horror trope in the book. And it's so god-awful. I really couldn't stand The Open House. The Open House is the first truly awful movie of 2018. So, let's first get into my positives, because I do have positives with the film. And my positives are, first being, I thought the acting wasn't bad, really. The acting, wasn't necessarily bad, honestly. It was passable. It was passable, I'll say that. Dylan Minnette, he was pretty good, I guess. I enjoyed him. He did give a pretty solid performance in the film. The woman that plays his mother is pretty good, too. And the rest of the acting isn't too bad in the movie. I really didn't think the acting was necessarily the worst thing about the movie. It was definitely passable. It was definitely, I'll say, I guess the best part of the movie, honestly. So, yeah, the acting wasn't too bad in the movie, and the directing wasn't bad either. I thought the directing was actually pretty nice. It's pretty well shot. Editing is pretty good, honestly, and the cinematography actually is really solid with this movie. So, yeah, the directing wasn't too bad with this movie either. And that's where my positives end, because the negatives... Oh boy. Alright, the negatives. First being, this movie is not scary whatsoever. There's no sense of tension, or, anytime I was on the edge of my seat, being afraid for these characters. No, there was never a time like that for me, because, for one, it's poorly handled, and two, it's the same garbage jump scares that you get with a lot of these horror films. And it's stupid. It really is. And yeah, it's not good. It doesn't know really how to build tension or build suspense and really keep you on the edge of your seat. No, there's never a time like that in this movie for me. There's never a time where I felt any sort of tension for any of the characters, honestly. And yeah, I just wasn't invested. And that's another thing, the somewhat mystery element of this movie too. I wasn't invested in it. I didn't care. I honestly did, because I didn't care about the story. It was pretty boring, honestly. I just really didn't care, and it didn't really make me invested in the mystery element of it as well, of wondering, what's going on in this house and whatever. So, yeah, that was poorly handled too. This movie is predictable as all hell. It is. Like I said, it's every horror trope in the book, and it comes off predictable. There are many moments in this movie that I found very predictable, and if, to be honest with you, if there's a thing I hate the most in movies, is when it's predictable, because I like being surprised with movies. I like it when I don't see things coming. I hate it when I see things coming. And that's what happens with the open house. It's very predictable, and there are some really predictable moments in this movie. And I was just like, okay, like, I knew where that was going. Alright, okay. Like, really, like, there were moments in that where I really was like, yeah, I know that's gonna happen. Oh, it happened. Yep, I was right. You know, it's predictable as hell. And this movie was already bad enough, but the last act of it, holy crap, does it just take it to ups it to an 11. Like, just, the third act just gets ridiculous. I'm like, okay, like, it's just, alright, like, the third act just ups this to, like, an 11, but not in a good way, not at all. Like, it just gets borderline ridiculous to me. I'm just like, really, what? Like, it's just, and the writing with this movie is not good either. It really isn't. Like, some of the dialogue isn't really all that great with this film. The movie is boring as hell. Holy crap. This movie's only an hour and 34 minutes, and it was moving at a snail's pace. Seriously, like, it's because I just wasn't invested in anything that was going on. So obviously, I'm gonna be bored. I'm gonna just, bore myself, honestly, because I'm not invested in this story, or, not feeling any tension at all. And it just makes the movie boring. I'm not invested with it whatsoever. And lastly, now with no spoilers, of course, I'm not gonna spoil this, but I'll just say this: the ending. Is it too early to call worst ending of the year? Seriously, is it too early for that? Because the way this movie ends, it is so abrupt. If everything was already bad already with this film, the ending just makes it. I thought the third act made it 1,000 times worse. No, the ending just makes it 1,000,000,000 times worse, okay? The ending is so abrupt and so unconclusive, too. Like, really, like, I didn't feel like that, like, any conclusion. Like, it's so abrupt and just so out of nowhere. And I'm just like, so that's how you're gonna end your movie? It's like they didn't know how to end the movie, so they just ended it like that. Like, seriously, that's how I felt with the ending with this movie. It's like, they just were like, how are we supposed to end this? Let's end it like this. Let's end it like this abruptly. And it's terrible. Like, I really hated the ending to this movie. I literally screamed in my head, what the hell was that? Because it's just like, what was that? Like, what type of ending? Seriously, the ending, like, I thought the third act made it worse. No, the ending just makes it even worse than that. Seriously, oh my god. Yeah, The Open House. Yeah, the first god-awful movie of 2018. I really couldn't stand The Open House. It is basically every generic horror film you could possibly imagine put into one. It's terrible. I really didn't enjoy it. So aside from my official grade on The Open House, and my official grade on The Open House is a D. It's a pretty awful film. Like I said, besides the acting and the directing, which I thought were solid, everything else about this movie is just terrible. From its, very lazy, building of tension and scares, and to its just predictability, and its writing, and its third act, and its editing. Just a lot of things are awful about this film, and I really couldn't stand it. And it's a pretty terrible movie, and I do not recommend it at all. It's awful. It really is, and I did not enjoy it. So it definitely deserves to get a D. So, if you have seen The Open House, what did you think of it? Leave in the comment section below. And I'm FilmFan0599, and we will see you about later. Peace.